because having a business is a completely uncomfortable experience. The whole thing, even I've been doing this for years, it's still uncomfortable. But, it's not about me. It's about the people that need to hear from me, the people that need my support, my help, like later I'll go and get ready and I'll put my face on and I'll do a video. I don't feel like doing it, but I'll still do it anyway because someone will need to hear from me today. And that's how I see it.
Welcome back to the Balance Boldly podcast for ambitious women in business and a few brave men. I'm your host, Naketa Ren Thigpen, excited to be back with you as we continue on with season 22, making sure that you fully live the life that you teach. Listen, we are here. We are rolling into a whole new era. Forget the new normal. You guys know I've been saying that for a while. Like new normal, hashtag, that's over. We're in the new era. We got to get used to dealing with this new way of living, being, and working with some caveats and being open to being, I guess I would say, strategically agile and being flexible. But that does not mean that you still don't show up with integrity, that you don't fully show up as yourself, that you don't make sure that you're doing everything within your power to make sure that you are aligned, that you are fueled up with good nutrition, good energy, good love, kindness, and all the things to make sure that you can create the work, life, and love that works for you. That's why I'm always excited to bring to you experts that are out here doing exactly what they say they're going to do, walking their walk and talking their talk. Today, my husband's going to be really mad at me clapping in the background, but he'll be all right. Today, I get to introduce you to Janet Kafadar. She is an online business coach and consultant for women working their 9-to-5 while they build their online empires after dark. She's talking about 10-20 minutes a day of putting in the work to grow your legacy, to create your imprint in this world with deep impact and intimacy along the way. A busy mom of 3 kids under 8 herself, she is not playing games. She's not just talking about something she read in a book. She is helping you understand that there is a way to do this thing without losing your mind, going at your own pace, but still going nonetheless. Janet, welcome to the Balance Boldly podcast. How are you today?
I'm amazing. Wow, that intro. I feel like there should be like Oscar applause or something. Thank you. It's great.
You are welcome. Please tell everyone a little bit more about what pulls you forth in the world and how you're showing up every day for your family and your clients.
I think my biggest driver is that it's my kids. So my kids keep me going, and my family, they're under 9 now, so that interest is a little old, but yeah, so they're 8, 7, and 4. So I got my hands full.
Yes, you do. You saw my face, right?
Like, yeah, exactly. Like I've got my hands full, but they keep me going, and I always think to myself, like, I want them to have someone to look up to. I want them to be able to look up to me, to look up to their father as well, to show that they decided to do things how they wanted to do it, and even, as a Black woman as well, we're a blended family, but, as a Black woman, they can, especially here in Australia, where there aren't that very many Black faces, that they can have someone else that they can look up to, and even their friends can, like, oh, well, if she can do it, then I can do it. And exactly. That's what keeps me moving forward each day, and to kind of build that legacy and have something that they can look back on, even if they might be a little bit embarrassed of their mum, but I did it anyway. And I still went out and I did what I think was best. So yeah, that keeps me going. That pushes me forward each day. Even when I'm tired, I'm like, I can't do this. But I'm like, at the back of my mind, it's for them, but also for the women that I want to serve. And I know the women that need me, and I think less about myself and it's more about them. So yeah, that's how I come at it.
Well, I'm laughing at you because you said, even if your kids are embarrassed by your mom,
right.
Like, my kids are 24 and almost 20, and they're embarrassed by me all the time. That doesn't go away. And I'm totally okay with that. Like, selfishly, totally okay with it. Let me do something to extra embarrass you, like dance, break out and dance when we're crossing the street together. Like,
yeah. Oh my goodness. Yes. Oh God, I remember my mum doing that. I'm just thinking, oh my God, stop. You're so embarrassing. But now I think about it, I'm like, whatever. I just that you're comfortable with yourself and don't care.
How awesome is my mom that she was willing to just totally be awkward and uncomfortable and, all the things just to get a smile on my face, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
that's right.
And pushing past like those expectations that you had to be like super poised and all the things, because that's also what you're helping your clients do, right? Like you got to push past that discomfort of thinking that this isn't possible because it should look a certain way. I should quit my job and jump right in. I could build it faster if I just had more hours. And I know you're really, helping them create the balance that they need along the way by helping them with the systems and like do it in smaller bite-sized pieces, but still with great momentum.
Exactly. Because I feel that, a lot of the big gurus on these online streets will talk about, you gotta quit your job. You've got to work 16 hours a day on top of your day job. All that craziness. And I think to myself, like, most of the women in my community are mothers, or they have, they've got older kids. And they don't want to work like that. They've already done a full day, let's say 8, 10, 12-hour day. The last thing they want to do is come home and then do their other shift for their business. And the thing that I found is that most of the time when they would sit down at the computer or sit down on their phone or whatever, they would sit down like, okay, I've got like an hour, I've got 2 hours, I've got the evening, whatever. And they sit down, they're like, right, what am I going to do? And then just don't know what to do. Just end up like scrolling, end up down some YouTube rabbit hole for at least like 2 hours. And then they realize, it's like 11:30. Like, I actually haven't done anything. So I always say to them, like, what could you do in 20 minutes? If you got, really dedicated and just said, I've got 20 minutes. That's all I've got. Set a timer on your phone, whatever it is. Is it research that you need to do into your potential market? Just set it for 20 minutes. Just do that. Is it potentially reaching out and letting people know about the services that you offer and letting them know, like, hey, I am a life coach that specializes in X, Y, Z. This is what I do. If you know anyone, please send them my way. It takes you less than 20 minutes to write that email. It's that kind of thing, like you can do every single day, 5 days a week, 6 days a week. You would make so much traction in 20 minutes. And that's what I say, like, you have to be intentional about what you're doing. And then after that, then, your time has gone to zero. You're like, whoa, I'm finished. Okay, I can go and watch my favorite Netflix show. I can do whatever it is, because you spent that time intentionally to move your business forward. And it doesn't happen overnight. Overnight successes don't happen. It's built on these incremental daily wins, monthly, yearly wins that happen each day. So I preach about that each time.
Absolutely. And I know you're living it because you have little ones too. And you're like, listen, this stuff has to get done one way or another. Yes. And if I want to create the legacy for them that, they can move from being embarrassed at their mama to being, impressed by their mama, I have to put this in and do it. So when did it happen for you that you decided that, you know what, I'm not going to keep listening to all the, the gurus and the wannabes, because many of them aren't gurus, that,
right?
Yeah. They paid for them followers, okay? Like, that's a whole different podcast topic we talk about. But like, when did you decide, enough is enough? Like, this is what I need to do, and this is how I'm going to do it. And then, kind of what was some of the mindset shift that you had to have to be consistent with your new revelation that you could in fact get it done?
Yeah. So I used to have a course creation agency. So way back when. So I've been in business for almost 8 years now. And so the business I had when I first started was an agency that I started whilst I was working my day job. My kids were really small then, and they were in daycare, but I was working a full-time job, and I knew that I could, I had all of the skills, learning development, all of that stuff. And I was like, well, I know that I can do this. I know that I can help people. Built up that agency, got so much traction with it. And on this same premise of, I had to still pick up my kids from daycare, still had to serve clients, I still had to work a full-time job, but I was like, this cannot be my reality for the rest of my life. Like, this can't be it. And it was a real shift whilst I was working that job at that time. And my boss had said to me, my kids were sick, and they're like, he said, can you stay in the meeting? Because, you're going home shortly anyway. So can you just stay? So my childcare had called and said my kids were sick. I was like, I've got to go instantly. Yeah. And he's like, no, but can you just stay? Because, you're going at 5. And I was like, oh, hell no. Like, no, I'm going. I didn't even acknowledge what he said. Yeah, and I left the boardroom. And so that really, for me, that was the kind of a turning point. Like, I've got to make this work, and I've got to figure out a way in which I can still obviously keep my job that pays for my mortgage, pays the bills, all of that, but then build up this business to a point where I can actually leave and I can actually, go out on my own. I'm confident that I've done that. So that was really the turning point for me that happened. But sorry, excuse me.
So you got pissed off.
Oh yeah.
Got pissed.
Right. I did. And I'd already started working on it then, but that was the moment that I was like, this can't go on. I can't be not dictated, but I can't have someone else tell me when I can't go and pick up my kids. You must be joking. They're my babies. They need me. I am there instantly. So that was really what kicked it all off for me.
Yeah, don't play with Mama Bear, right? Like
exactly right.
They pushed the button. That's all it took.
That's all it took. Luckily, that was just a contract until I think it was like 9 months or so. But yeah, but I knew that it was ending. So I knew that it was ending. So I knew that I had to make it work, and I knew that I had to use that to kind of push me forward. So it's great. Blessing.
No, absolutely. Were you in relationship at that time? Like, did you have to, have a conversation with your partner around like, hey, I'm making this decision? Or was this a solo decision that you were able to make without needing to bounce it off of anyone else?
Well, I'm a bit like, I don't know if we had a clear discussion about it. It's more this is what I think, and this is what I'm doing. That was it.
You're like, okay, this is happening.
It's happening. So I'm not really asking for your permission.
Yeah.
This is what I'm doing. And that's it. And I just went, and he, because he knows me anyway, and we've been together for almost 15 years now, he knows that I can do it. And it wasn't a matter of, I don't know. It's like, go. Do it because I know you can make it work, and he knows how I am. So yes, yeah, and we're still together as well. So managed to get through all the ups and downs of businesses and all of that jazz. But yeah, still together.
Yeah, and I mean that can be a tough, point, like a paradigm shifting pivot for many people. Especially when you're in relationship, and I never want to make an assumption, right? Because you're like, girl, no, I use time to get these babies, and I'm happy now. Right? Like, no judgment, and never, ever, ever any judgment from me. But being in relationship with someone who I call your forever love, right? And like being in that space of wanting to make sure that you are aligned with big, life-shifting decisions and also claiming your power to be willing to do it regardless, and knowing that there'll be some adjustments and maybe some sacrifices. And the fact that he was willing to support you and honor the reality that he knows that you're a beast and that you would be able to do it was extra helpful. But for many people, they won't make that shift because they feel like their relationship can't handle any more strain along the way.
Yeah. It's interesting you bring that up, because I do have, I have a lot of potential clients that I speak to and on the call with them and stuff. And, they really have to kind of discuss it with their partner beforehand, which I completely understand. But I also think, and that's completely normal. But I do think on some level, the financial side of it, however the financials, they work it out between themselves. But I do think, and I've said this before, that they need to come in with a level of, I am really excited about this. And I believe that this is what I need to be able to move me forward. And it's not that you're coming into the conversation like, oh, there's this program that I think is really good, but, and that kind of shy, like, no, you come into it like you're excited about it. Like, oh my God, this is what I could work on. This is potentially where I could be at that kind of thing. Or otherwise, if you don't believe in your own dream, then how are you going to expect someone else to believe in it for you? Like, what the? Like, hello?
Listen, you got me waving my hands like, yeah, preach. Woo, that is the truth.
It's the truth. Like, you can't, walk into it like, oh, yes, well, I think it would be good. Of course, and it's an instant no. Your energy says it all. Energy says it all. You're not you're not bringing your best self to the table. And so it's important that you, even if you have to have that conversation with your partner about your dreams and what it means for your family, and all, be excited about it. Like you would be talking to your girlfriend, that you're talking to anyone, because it is exciting. It's scary, but it should be.
Yeah, it is scary if it's worth having, and it should be exciting. And something that I noticed, in my little professional stalking of you, right? Because I have to do that with all the guests. Noticed that something that you talk about, which is important because it's the other reason besides the relationship potential situation that might be going on, is they're feeling that they're not able to do it because they're in overwhelm or that they're feeling stuck. And I know that you have a certain conviction about being overwhelmed or stuck and like what that really means for going to your next level. I would love for you to share that.
Yes. You're not really overwhelmed or stuck or anything like that. You're just scared. Purely scared, less. That's what it pretty much comes to. And it's it's so easy for us. Oh, like, I just don't know what to do. I don't know where I'm at. I don't know how to do this. And like, really, in this day and age where there's so much, really, then it comes down to when you've kind of taken that to the side. It's like, well, actually, what do I need help with?
Right.
And then once you've unpicked that, or like, what is it I need help? What do I want to achieve? What's my goal? Then it comes back down to, well, who can I help to? Who do I need? What do I need to make this dream come to life? And then once you've gotten to that place, then you've realized, okay, this is what I need. And that's the point that you get scared. You're like, oh, no, I'm going to go the other way. And you're walking in a different direction. Like, that feels too scary. That means I've got to either put myself out there. That either means I need to invest money or time or whatever it is. And that is steps outside of your comfort zone, and that's where the fear kind of takes over. But it's important to make sure that you step outside of that, because having a business is a completely uncomfortable experience. The whole thing, even if I've been doing this for years, it's still uncomfortable. But it's not about me, it's about the people that need to hear from me, the people that need my support, my help. Like, later I'll go and get ready and I'll put my face on and I'll do a video. I don't feel like doing it, but I'll still do it anyway because someone will need to hear from me today. And that's how I see it.
Yeah, because you believe that your work is purposeful and it's shifting and serving. And because you believe it, and to your point, like, everything starts with a dream. Yeah. And then you have to move from that dream to believing it and then planning for it. But you can't stay in planning. You can't be like, oh, like the research, the market research. You then have to do. And to your point, like that doing, like moving from that stage of planning to doing is both partially preceded by the fact that you believe that the doing was worth it, right? Like that you believe that, you know what, I don't feel like doing this video. The kids were sick all night. They had me up all night, or Naketa had me on that daggone interview too long. And it made me run over to cook breakfast to get the kids out the door, whatever the case is, right? Like, you went through that, but you still said, you know what? This is necessary for the people that I'm choosing to serve, that I'm feeling pulled to serve. They need to hear this. So even if it's a concentrated 2-minute tip versus, like an hour-long kind of girthy training video, you're going to put your good lipstick on. And
that's right. Exactly right. All day. For sure.
I love it. Janet, tell everyone how you give yourself permission to pause.
So my permission to pause is not necessarily pausing and staying still, because I'm energetic and I'm always about. But mine is making sure that I have time for myself in the morning. So it's now almost 9 o'clock, or just gone 9 o'clock in the morning here. I was up at 6:05, got myself to the gym, and I did my 45-minute session, and that's it. That is my time. Like, no one is allowed to. There's no interviews at that time. There's no client calls. There's nothing at that time, and that time is for me. So that's, for me, my time to pause, because once I get back and I open that garage door, it's on. Lunches to get the kids ready, all of that stuff. So that is my time when I can actually pause and I can focus on myself, do my exercise, spend that. It's only 45 minutes, but 45 minutes each day, it's just what I need. And it sets me up for the day, puts me in the right energy, right mood. Yeah, it's good. That's what I do.
It fuels your tank before you start pouring out to all the people that need to receive from you, starting with your family, right? Yeah. And then the overflow goes to your clients and in any other engagement, your committee board meetings, your leadership, your ministries, like all the things. No, it's so important.
It's so important, so important. And I think that a lot of people that, or people always say, oh, I don't have the time to do it. I'm like, really? You don't have the time for yourself? Right. That's what that says.
I hear it all the time, like on so many levels.
Yeah.
I'm too busy building to balance. I'm like, well, it really depends on how you define it, which is why, like, I tell people all the time, because we get into the semantics of, like, is there such thing of balance? It's really harmony. It's integration. I'm like, listen, if you are walking down the street and all of a sudden you get dizzy and you go to the left or go to the right and you're about to fall, you don't feel like you're not integrated. You don't feel like you're lacking harmony. You feel like you're off balance. And when the same thing is happening to you in your life and in your leadership and in your business and in your relationships, because you're tilting to the left or tilting to the right, something is making you feel a little loopy. It's because you're off balance, partially because you haven't admitted the truth of what you really want and then created boundaries so you can get it. That's all balance is, right?
Yes. Preach. Yes. Boundaries give you back your bounce. They do.
They do.
It's
all day.
So true. So true. Yeah.
Don't get me started. So how can people connect with you?
You can find me over at janetkafadar.com. That's my website. Or you can find me on my podcast as well, The Truth About Show. I also talk about the truths about having an online business that people don't necessarily want to talk about or even acknowledge. And I just talk about the uncomfortable stuff that, even makes me uncomfortable. Like, oh my God, I've got to hit published. But anyway, I do it. Or you can find me on Facebook on all of the places. But yeah, those are pretty much the best places to find me.
I love how you say all of the places. I do that too. I'm like, I'm everywhere.
Yeah, you'll find me. Just Google me and you'll find me.
You sound like my twin. And I know it sounds so pretentious on some level. Like, just Google me. Like, no, it really is just the easiest thing to do.
It really is.
You are awesome. I am so grateful that you carved out time for us today. I have been chasing you for a while to get you on the Balance Boldly Show. So thank you for making space to not just to show up, but to show up fully. I am so honored by your presence.
Oh, thank you so much. Honestly, it's been great. I've loved it. Thank you.
You're amazing. Balance Boldly listeners, was Janet not the best? The best. She is incredible. Make sure that you follow the link below for wherever you are listening to. The show notes have everything you need for her. Make sure that you go to her link, sign up for her podcast so you can subscribe, rate, review, and share, just like I want you to do with the Balance Boldly Show, because that helps her podcast stay in front of the right people like you and me and every other ambitiously bold and brave person out there that needs that information, those tools and techniques. So please make sure that you do that. And I will do my due diligence by making sure that our team puts all the information there for you to make sure you can do it. If you have not already gone out and bought the book Selfish, my personal survival memoir and personal transformation story, I can't talk today, make sure that you do, because it is literally everywhere, from Amazon and Barnes and Nobles and whatever you call the ebook version of iNook and all that kind of stuff. It's everywhere books can be sold and found. So make sure you pick that up, because I am sharing everything that you need to know about me, quite frankly, in there. But more important, it's hope and it's victory for anyone who's reading the book that's ever dealt with any kind of trauma and felt like you were stuck in that space. You can thrive, I promise you. So make sure you pick that up. In the interim, I want you to continue to share this podcast with everyone that you come in contact with. We want to make sure that as we hedge into 2021 and get through the next few years, that people really understand that these tips and tools are not buried in some $100,000 contract somewhere and you don't have access to it. Although you can find it there too if you really want to. We can do a consult. You can call me about it. But if you want the free tips, tools, and techniques, just go ahead and listen to the podcast, because experts like Janet and many other amazing women and men that we featured on the show are literally giving you the nuggets that you need, and they're sharing these 20-30-minute time spaces with you for free. So please pick it up and make sure you don't just listen, but you infuse it in your life. Until next time, I want you to continue to create your balance and create your joy. But remember, do it boldly.